Anyway.
So, Nyck, my friend.
My friend.
My friend.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm good.
Well, Nyck, it's been an eventful 12 months for you, so I have to ask, how are you?
I'm really good. I'm really good.
That's
I'm
great.
really enjoying the racing that I'm doing, both in Formula E and in WEC. I'm with two great teams, very nice environments. I feel really, I would say, supported and appreciated within those teams, and I'm enjoying the work with both of them. Obviously, with Toyota, I had a little bit of a history. We started working together in 2020, so
Wow.
that felt like coming home. And in Formula E, I've raced before, so in a way that felt, like coming home too. And I'm at a great place with Mahindra. Obviously, we're not really necessarily fighting at the front, but I think collectively we believe that over time we will be able to get there, and hopefully rather soon than later. This year the hardware hasn't changed from last year, so we can't expect miracles, but with Gen 3.5 coming and also beyond that, I'm confident that we will become competitive.
Well, that's really
So
good to...
We will become competitive.
We will become competitive. That's great to hear. And I'm glad that you're in a great mindset and that you're enjoying what you're doing on track, because that's the main thing, right?
Agreed.
Well, you raced in Formula E between 2019 and 2022 as well. You said you just kind of felt like you've come home here, but do you remember your mindset back in those years? Like when you first joined Formula E, did you kind of think this is my chance to make it? Which, I mean, you ultimately did. You won a world championship here.
Well, what is the criteria for making it?
You tell me.
I think through life your goals and objectives change. I think every young driver shares the same dream and goal to become a Formula One driver. Having said that, when I moved into Formula E, I kind of let that go. When I won Formula 2 in 2019, I took I would say a different direction with Mercedes into Formula E, and in my mind I was going to do that for a long time of my career, and hopefully winning a lot of championships and races together. But somehow Formula One came back on my path. I think when it was actually there, it's a no-brainer. You take it. And now that I've done it, I also look at it differently. I'm probably even happier being or appreciative of what I'm doing and where I am. And I obviously hope that with Mahindra we can become successful and that we can continue the success Toyota has had in the past years in WEC.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're right. The goalpost changing is something no one ever really talks about. I mean, you can look back now and say, I've done it. Like, you've done it all, And I can imagine the last 12 months have been trickier than maybe others.
I think it's also all relative. Like, obviously, what we do has been a little bit more in let's say, in the public eye. And therefore maybe it can feel like the weight is higher. But, every individual faces their own challenges. So what can be difficult for me could be something else to you. So I think it's normal, it's part of life, and we go through different phases and chapters, and this was one of them. And now we continue racing, and I'm very happy where I am.
Do you think that's a kind of mindset that you came to over the last year? I mean, it sounds like you're so balanced in your view of things, which I suppose you have to be as a driver, because some weekends can really go your way, some weekends can really not go your way. What's one of the biggest things you've learned about yourself in the last year, do you think?
I think over time and with experience, you do learn to have a little bit more perspective and try to see the big picture a little bit more. And it's when you go through tougher times, sometimes you realize that there's no point to be frustrated when you might not be at the right place, and you can be disappointed and negative, but obviously that's not really going to help anyone.
It's not going to really do anything
No,
at
exactly.
a certain point.
So,
But
yeah.
it's hard. And also you mentioned there that everything has been quite public. I mean, over your whole career. I mean, I've had very limited kind of exposure to that, very, very minor, but it does affect me as well, And I think it's so easy to just focus on what people are saying about you that's bad. It's like you can read all these amazing things, and then you read one thing and it sticks to you like glue. So how have you managed to navigate that?
Well, I mean, I just tried not reading anything anymore, just avoid it, which is very hard because when you have passion for your sport, you also like to, follow what you're doing. But when you come across, negative things about yourself, then that becomes not so nice. So, yeah, I just try to avoid reading anything, looking at anything, and when it's not there, it kind of doesn't reach you.
If you don't see it, it doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't exist, exactly. So, like, what you don't know can't hurt.
Yeah.
But obviously, on track, you are reminded of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say kind of ignoring it is the best way to deal with it.
Well, from my perspective, it's really nice to see you happy.
Thank you.
Having navigated the last year. So, yeah, I think I can speak for a lot of people in like a lot of pride in Nyck now,
Oh, that's very cute. Thank you.
I'm serious. Yeah, I know. It's so soppy. No, okay, so tell me a little bit more about Formula E and about Mahindra. So after you left the F1 paddock, how quickly did the opportunity come up with Mahindra?
So I didn't actually stay at home for a long time because
I can imagine that with you, Nyck. I'm not going to lie.
The first weekend I missed was Budapest, and the first Formula 1 race that I missed, which was, I think, third weekend of July, if I'm not mistaken. And Frecka was racing at Paul Ricard,
Yeah.
and I'm helping Lawrence van Hoopen, who is racing in Formula 3 with ART. So I went to see him, went to support him, so I was already back on track like a week after.
Wow.
And then the last week of July was the final round of Formula E in London.
Yeah.
So I went down to watch the race, and that was probably my first encounter with Formula E again, and to catch up with the paddock and people. And coincidentally, I bumped into Fred Bertrand on the grid, and we exchanged contacts. We quickly said, we should have a catch up, and really informal, casual, and we did remain in touch, and we did plan a call, and from that it kind of kicked off.
So it felt very natural.
Yes, yeah, but I always knew that I wanted to, come back and
Really?
be here. Yeah.
So why Mahindra?
I mean, it's no secret that the team has had a tough season last year, and we are not trying to, sell the world that we are here to necessarily fight for a championship, because it's not realistic today. But I think that the future goals, ambitions, and the perspective we have as a group is very promising. And I would say the ideas that are in place, the changes that are happening, really convinced me to join the team and to be part of this I would say new project.
Yeah. And how have you kind of mentally digested your return back to this paddock? Is it just like everything's kind of the same as it was before? I mean, you're such a different person to when you were here last. Just more experience, more life experience,
I'm
I
older.
suppose. Yeah. When you came back, I mean, now there's new races here. How was Effie different in your eyes from when you first joined and when you left and when you've come back? Or has it just felt like you've just slipped straight back into it?
Technically, the car is different.
Yeah.
And that brings changes on a sportive level, on a technical level. I think technically both to drive and to set up the cars have become more complicated by introducing the front motor, basically braking with both motors to slow down the car, and recovering energy. I think that is probably the biggest change, different tires. But apart from that, probably the championship is moving a little bit towards more permanent tracks.
Yeah.
The racing has changed a little bit, but in the main headlines have still remained the same. And I don't really feel like I changed at all in the past years, except that I've become older and have done different things. I still feel like I'm myself, and yeah, I enjoy being back and part of it.
So many different cars you've driven, WEC and Formula cars and Formula E cars, electric cars. What are the kind of different skills that, do you find it easy to switch between driving a WEC car, for example, and coming to an electric series?
I'm personally I've always been a strong advocate of driving, because I always make the comparison with other sports. If you look at basketball, golf, football, tennis.
What's your favorite other sport?
To play myself or to watch? Both. Watch. I mean, you've been at an NBA game.
I have indeed. Yeah.
It's insane.
It's
like,
super.
Have you been? The energy.
Have you been to one before?
Yeah.
So good.
It was really cool.
Have you been to an NFL game?
No, I know you have.
Oh, you should totally go. You would love it.
But anyway, I would say I'm an advocate of driving, and I think in any other sports, athletes practice their sports every day, and we get so little opportunity to actually drive. I mean, Formula E has 10 weekends, which is actually very little. So personally, I think any driving and practicing we can do to practice our skills and to stay involved and to stay fit, I think is very helpful. And then the basics of racing remain the same across all cars. And you learn different things across different programs. I think with WEC there's actually a bit of overlap on the technical side. So I like to be busy.
Advocate for driving. That should be your Instagram bio.
Maybe I shouldn't open it anymore.
Well, do you think a championship is within reach in the next couple of years?
Of course, we are here to be competitive and to race to win. And how long it will take us, we obviously don't know. But next season we will have a 3.5, so a Gen 3.5, and we will get a new powertrain. So hopefully that will help us a little bit further up the grid. And then obviously in Gen 4, which is already being worked on the background, will give us another step.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see some of your old friends in the paddock. Who's your best friend in Formula E going?
Oh, why do we have to? Edo is my teammate. No, Stoffel and I have a very good relationship.
You go way back.
Yeah, we go way back.
Amazing.
But yeah, Edo and I have a good relationship.
Amazing, Nyck. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I really appreciate it.
Enjoy
and good
your
luck
weekend.
this weekend. I will.
Bring your umbrella tomorrow.